In this video, we will look at multiplying a decimal and a whole number using base 10 pieces. The focus of this standard is using models, drawings, and strategies based on place value to compute problems. Here we will look at using base 10 pieces to find the product of 23 hundredths and 7. To begin, we should think about a reasonable solution. Students may think about the magnitude of the product and recognize that it will be less than 7, since 7 is being multiplied by a factor that is less than 1 whole. Similarly, they would think that it would be more than 23 hundredths, since 23 hundredths is being multiplied by a factor that is more than 1 whole. With some experience, some students may be able to say, well, 23 hundredths is close to 2 tenths, and 2 tenths is pretty friendly to work with. So 2 tenths times 7, they might think, well, if I had 2 tenths 7 times, that would be 14 tenths, and 14 tenths is equivalent to 1 and 4 tenths. And so they might think that the answer will be close to 1 and 4 tenths. Now, to begin to solve, the first thing that we'll want to do, we know that this expression 23 hundredths times 7 means that we have 7 groups of 23 hundredths. So we'll go ahead and show that first. So we'll need 23 hundredths 7 times, so 2 tenths and 3 hundredths. So that's 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups of 23 hundredths, 5 groups, 6 groups. We'll make space for a 7th group here. So I've shown 23 hundredths 6 times, and now here would be 23 hundredths a 7th time. So we have 7 groups of 23 hundredths. And now in order to find the product, we just need to figure out, well, how much do we have in total here? And to begin to do that, we want to regroup our hundredths and our tenths so that we can see how many new tenths we can make, how many wholes we can make. So we will start with our hundredths. I know that it takes 10 hundredths to make 1 tenth, and I see that if I take the 3 hundredths from 3 of the groups plus another hundredth, I would have 10 hundredths, which I can regroup for 1 tenth. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We can see that 10 hundredths is the same thing as 1 tenth. So I'm going to go ahead and regroup those 10 hundredths for a new tenth. And now I see I still have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 hundredths left. So I know I can regroup those for another tenth. So it would take 3, then 6, 9, 1 more hundredth, so that's 10 hundredths, which we know is equivalent to 1 tenth. So we'll go ahead and regroup those 10 hundredths for 1 tenth. Now I see that I have 1 hundredth left. There aren't any more hundredths to regroup that with, so that will just be by itself for part of our product. And now we can look at the tenths that we have here and see if we can regroup any of these tenths for a new whole. So let's count how many tenths we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we have 16 tenths, and we know that it would take 10 tenths to make 1 whole. So I could go ahead and regroup 10 of these tenths for 1 whole. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So 10 of these tenths will be regrouped for 1 whole. And now there's no more regrouping that needs to be done. We just need to see how much we have here. So we have 1 whole. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenths, and 1 hundredth. So that shows us that the product of 23 hundredths and 7 is 1 and 61 hundredths. We know that's reasonable based on the estimate that we made here, where we multiplied 2 tenths times 7 and got 1 and 4 tenths. 1 and 61 hundredths is close to 1 and 4 tenths. This is also reasonable based on what we thought about in the beginning, where we thought our answer would be more than 23 hundredths, since that's multiplied by a factor greater than 1 whole, but less than 7, since 7 is multiplied by a factor that is less than 1 whole. And 1 and 61 hundredths is less than 7, but greater than 23 hundredths. And so again, this is how we can multiply a decimal and a whole number using base 10 pieces.